I love dinosaurs. You love dinosaurs. If you don't, you know no whimsy. And one of my most beloved videos is a video all about dinosaurs. Specifically dinosaur starters. As I have been working on a starter trio based on these prehistoric creatures. I've been hard at work cooking behind the scenes, and today I'm finally able to reveal the final evolutions of these reptilian rapskulls. Let's get started, shall we? Let's start with Parasir and Volpara. They're both the fire starters, and they're based on a running joke on my channel of the fire-breathing Parasaurolophus. I don't have to explain this anymore, right? Creationist theorizes Parasaurolophus could flaminize some poor Ceratosaurus's face? It's a tale as old as before time. Those who remember the last video will know that I went into this trio without any solid ideas. So when I drew Parasir and Volpara, I had no clue how its final evolution would look like. I did have the idea of combining the Parasaur with a volcano somehow. But I didn't know how to expand on that from Volpara. Then, however, I came up with the idea of having the volcano crest resemble a witch's hat. And from there I knew what I wanted. Getting the shape of this head right was crucial, and I put a lot of effort into this. And together with the more slender humanoid body I came up with, I think it gives off a very elegant feeling in general. I'm really happy with that. According to the flaming parrot theory, the crest of a Parasaurolophus would have been filled with specialized organs which would spray a flammable liquid, similar to some species of beetle. I replaced this idea with the horn instead being filled with hot molten magma which spews from its crest. And just like the actual scientifically accurate use for this horn, the eruption of the volcano would sound like a thunderous noise. For the rest of the body, I took some inspiration from an old Pokemon sprite I made many years ago. This sprite is Volkrieg, an old Elfie region fire starter from before this channel. By giving it a mantle that is shaped like a stereotypical volcano. This way, the idea of a volcano and thermal energy still remains an important part of the design. But to improve this idea even more, I got the amazing idea to make this mantle out of lava! The forbidden tomato sauce. All of these elements came together really well for what is in my opinion a great design, with the colors and the rendering just adding to the art. This is a Pokemon that I am really proud of, honestly, one of my favorite ones in recent memory. And not just because it's based on one of my favorite archaeological jokes. The floor is lava! Parava, from Parasaurolophus and Lava.
Parava, the volcano Pokemon. A fire and ground type. Parava erupts into flames to warn others of its kind and intimidate foes. A herd of Parava can create loud thunderous sounds that shake the ground. A large herd of Parava was once able to create a brand new continent for them to live on. They create islands at sea to terraform their environments. It has the ability Blaze and the hidden ability Terpiscorian.
Like I said, this is one of my favorite Pokemon in quite a while, and it's definitely my favorite design of this video. Dare I say, it looks hot, eh? But that's not to say that the rest of these starters aren't good at all. In fact, I think they're all amazing. But before we get into these next two evolutions, let's have a quick break and focus on the two other Pokemon in this video. Oh hey, welcome to my dig site. Kid me always wanted to become a paleontologist when I grew up. But that's such hard work and I'm really lazy. So being able to edit myself doing it is a dream come true. Oh, It seems like I uncovered something very important. Here, you can have this ancient subscribe button. It's not a dinosaur, so I don't care. Go and smash it to make some magic dust or something, I don't know. I was really busy this week, so I considered making a shorter video with only the 3 starter Pokemon. But I asked you guys what you wanted, and you overwhelmingly told me to just delay the video instead. And I'm glad you told me that, because I came up with 2 more amazing Pokemon for this video. One of the most iconic dinosaurs is the Velociraptor. And of course I had to draw a raptor Pokemon at some point, right? But I wasn't quite sure how. We all know the Velociraptor, right? Hey, what is this giant man-eating scaly lizard that hunted in packs and was the size of a grown man doing here? Get out! I'm talking about the cool-based Velociraptor. The chicken-sized, feathery bird-looking guy who likely hunted more like hyenas than wolves. That's the one. Look how cute he is. I want to cuddle it and probably get my face ripped off. By now, I'm sure everyone already knows that the real Velociraptor was much smaller and had fluffy feathers and even primitive wings. I really want one of these as a pet. I think they'd be so cool to have. The raptors you see in Jurassic Park were actually more so based on Deinonychus. Wow, I pronounced that badly. Let me try again. Deinonychus, which was a bit larger. The Jurassic Park raptors are still much bigger, however, in order to look cooler. However, these raptors are still small fries compared to the terrifying Utahraptor, which was actually bigger than a freaking cow. For this raptor Pokemon, I took inspiration from the Velociraptor specifically, but mixed it with a few other dinosaur species, like the Deinonychus and the Eotyrannus, which was an early ancestor of the T-Rex, and which was also about the size of the Jurassic Park raptor. The reason I decided to make a raptor Pokemon in this video was because of this iconic fossil. It might be one of the best known fossils in history. If you can't make out what the heck is going on, I don't blame you. It looks like it should be blurred when Google Safe Search is on. But essentially, this is an actual fossil paleontologists found of a Protoceratops and a Velociraptor fighting. This raptor Pokemon will thus also have a Protoceratops counterpart later in this video. Time for the rematch of the centuries! In the left corner, the feathered fighter, the swift robber, the ferocious plunderer, it's Rapapier! From Raptor and Rapier, which is a kind of sword.
Rapapier, the sword-clawed Pokemon. A steel and flying type. A peculiar fossil of Rapapier was found of it fighting with another ancient Pokemon. It is believed they died together when they got buried by sand. Ever since the first fossil of Pokemon were resurrected 29 years ago, science has come a long way. Now, the Pokemon can be revived without overwriting one of its original typings. It has the ability Sharpness.
You can probably tell from its name that it is based on a sword as well. To make the idea of a counterpart Pokemon work, I based Rapapier on a sword, and its opponent, its enemy, is based on a shield. But that's for later. Let's have a look at the second starter Pokemon now, shall we? The prehistoric grass starter of this Pangaea region was Stegothorn and Solosaur. These two are stegosaurs based on thorny plants and solar energy. Let's shine some light on the amazing final evolution, however. For this Pokemon, I have slowly been building up the concept of the roses. The thorns, the red petals, and the glowing buds. And so obviously the final evolution needs to lean in completely into the rose ID. I began with the main body because I knew I wanted the rose to be its backside. Though I wasn't yet sure how. Most people think Stegosaur were all big, stupid, fat and lumpy animals. But there were also many species which resembled sauropods more, with elegant and more slender bodies and beautiful plates mixed with dangerous spikes. I wanted to allude to that aspect of the creatures. Sure, it still has a brain the size of a peanut, compared to a body the size of a tractor, but it looks pretty okay. It's pretty enough to be this stupid. The rose itself was a big struggle. I don't find it too difficult to draw roses, but only from the front. At an angle and in the Pokemon art style, it's way trickier to draw these. Luckily, I had Roserade as a reference. I don't know what I would have done otherwise. The rose will take the place of its iconic tail. I know, preposterous! A member of the Stegosauria clade that is not equipped with the iconic Thagomizer? How can it even call itself a Stegosaurus? This would be the part where I show you some obscure Stegosaurus, which didn't have any tail spikes. But there's surprisingly no examples of this, so have this epic image instead. Yeah. So no tail spikes. But it still has 4 large thorny pikes on its back, inspired by the second most popular Stegosauria, the Kentrosaurus. And who needs a tail when you can fart laser beams? Yeah, the inside of this rose has the bright light bulb of the second stage. And together with the rose, it looks like a lamp. This bulb can also fire laser beams to defend itself. So, yeah, there you go, that's my excuse. Other than that, I just took the colors from the second stage and gave them to this one. They were perfect as it is. And I think that it has to be the coolest Stegosaurus without tail spikes you've ever seen, right? Bloominate, from Bloom and Illuminate. It's probably my best name ever.
Bloominate, the photosynthesis Pokemon. A grass electric type. Bloominate spent all day sunbathing in order to charge itself. If it feels threatened, it can fire a laser beam with the concentrated power of the sun from its rear. By charging itself with solar power, Bloominate can launch devastating light attacks from its rose lamp. This Pokemon is a symbol of virtue and passion. It has the ability Overgrow and the hidden ability Solar Power.
Bloominate is a very neato Pokemon. I quite enjoy its elegant yet still goofy design. It's a great mix between pretty, goofy and cool. Now, from one herbivore to another, let's see what a rival Pokemon Rapapier has to face. As I said before, Rapapier takes inspiration from this fossil of a raptor and the Protoceratops fighting. So of course, its counterpart Pokemon should be the aforementioned Protoceratops. The fossil itself was discovered in Mongolia in 1971. So this duo would make for some great fossil Pokemon for a Mongolian-inspired region, which likely no one is ever going to make. So here's some token Pokemon Mongolia. You're welcome. Interpretations of how this peculiar fossil formation came to be vary, with some suspecting a dune collapsing on the two animals while fighting, and others claiming the raptor may have been scavenging a dead Protoceratops. But the coolest interpretation, which in my factual opinion is the correct one, is that they were duking it out to the death and fell into a swamp water where they kept on fighting until they drowned to death in a lake with piranhas. Or well, they didn't have piranhas yet, so... Oh, even cooler, Mosasaurus! Protoceratops is a less commonly known dinosaur, though what little claim to fame it has was definitely this fossil. These dinosaurs were the early ancestors of Triceratops. To think that this dog-sized baby boy would turn into the three-horned lizard larger and heavier than an elephant in only 3 million years is insane. Rapapier and Protops are counterpart Pokemon. So I needed two opposing concepts for them to work well. And I went with my immediate gut reaction of a sword and a shield. I mean, you can probably guess why. The Protoceratops' entire face is a shield, and the Velociraptor sickle claw easily translates into a badass sword. I gave Protops these three feathery quills on its tail. These are proto feathers. You might be wondering why it has these, since there's no direct evidence of quills or feathers with Protoceratops. Well, the Psittacosaurus did. This is an even earlier ancestor of the Triceratops. And look at him! He's adorable! I love him! I want one now! Psittacosaurus has direct and undeniable proof of feathers in this exact place on its body. And so many artists choose to interpret Protoceratops to have similar quill-like structures on its tail. And in the right corner, the shield-faced devil, the first horned face, the quilled-billed kid, it's Protops! Fight! Protops, from Protoceratops and Protection.
Protops, the shield-faced Pokemon. A fighting and steel type. A peculiar fossil of Protops was found of it fighting with another ancient Pokemon. It is believed they died together when they got buried by sand. Ever since the first fossil Pokemon were resurrected 29 years ago, science has come a long way. Now the Pokemon can be revived without overwriting one of its original typings. It has the ability Solid Rock.
You may notice with these two that they've got opposing colors. The body of Rapapier is blue and its claws are red, while Protops' body is red and its horn is blue. This is that hidden little Zangoose and Seviper detail that Game Freak was too cowardly to keep for some reason. So I eternalized that idea with these two menaces.
Now quit fighting, you damn down ruffians!
The final Pokemon of today's video is the evolution to fan-favorite Baryorka and Subarine. You guys really love these two goobers, and so the pressure was on to make a worthy final stage for this line. And what is better built to resist high pressure than a submarine? Yeah, that's probably my lowest joke so far, but I can always go lower with my trusty submarine. So after the scuba-based Pokemon, I am now turning it into a submarine. Well, I didn't quite know where I wanted to go with this final evolution. I eventually did have some basic ideas of what I wanted. And for Subarine, the idea was a reference to the iconic Spinosaurus, an actual dinosaur that evolved from the Spinosaurus. This amazingly beautiful beast evolved when the Great Flood wiped out all of the dinosaurs. It was just so perfect that it could evade the wrath of gods. And to get its revenge, this real dinosaur would sink the Ark of Noah by summoning a whirlpool the size of Texas. Okay, yeah, I'm just messing with you guys. Spinosaurus isn't an actual animal. Sadly, we live in the worst timeline. Spinosaurus instead is a popular meme in the paleontology community, spurred on by the many controversies and changes that Spinosaurus has had to endure over the years. This beloved dinosaur keeps changing its appearance and biology like every other Wednesday, so many call the Spinosaurus the ultimate culmination of this change. I've actually been consciously building up to this, making my Pokemon more and more aquatic as it evolves. I really wanted Subarine to look both monstrous and goofy at once. I didn't give it hind legs at first, though I eventually did give it hind fins. And I made the rotating flippers on its body much beefier and bigger. It stays pretty close to what I set up with Subarine, because I was admittedly a little scared to ruin the design somehow. So I hope this monstrous marooner from the depths still appears to the general masses that watch my video. 500 people. Was that tasteless? That was definitely tasteless.
Subarine, the Tide Pokemon. A water and steel type. By rotating its flippers, this Pokemon can swim through the water at shocking speeds. It was the apex predator of the prehistoric seas. It has a strong internal air bladder, allowing it to dive to depths of 8,000 meters. Despite being a predator, it will allow divers to hold on and go with it. It has the ability Torrent and the hidden ability Swift Swim.
I must admit that Subarine didn't quite live up to my hopes for the final evolution. But I still quite enjoy its personality and design, and I hope you guys agree. Also, I think its origin is amazing. Spinosaurus is one of my favorite memes in history. You magnificent bastard. This has been another amazing episode on dinosaurs! I'm so happy that you guys love dinosaurs just as much as I do. It makes me very happy to see that I can share my personal autistic interest with people through Pokemon. I actually hope to finish the part 4 of this series by Friday, but since I have been delayed quite badly this week, I fear that video will have to be pushed back as well. I'm sorry, I'll try catch up by then. Though, join me next time on this wonderful trip through prehistoric history, when I finally fix the Galar fossils. Have another wonderful day. I've been Gary the Muffin. Gotta catch me later.